that come true that make no sense in the moment. And there's a difference between those dreams have a very different feel than other dreams that I have. And there was one time when my youngest sister and I was living in Manitoba, she was living in Alberta, and we had the same dream involving our mom, who had passed already. And she called me and we were talking and she said, I had the strangest dream about Mom. And I said, when? And she said, a couple nights ago. And I said, tell me about it. Because I had had a dream too. And she described the dream to a T. Like the setting, who was there, where Mom was. The only difference in the dream is that where she saw Mom sitting, Mom was holding a child. And where I saw Mom, there was no child.
That child
in
is
her lap.
In her dream. That's what I feel.
Possibly. What I felt at that time was that I had been through a really rough time. Like dark night of the soul time where I had to like really pull myself out of a dark place.
Yeah.
And I was doing better. My sister was going into a time, and my takeaway from it, one takeaway from it was my mom came to me and said, you're okay now? I need to go be with her. My other takeaway is that that sister is the only one of the three of us that had children. I had 4 incomplete pregnancies, so I don't have children. But she was the one who had children. And that was a takeaway that I had later in life, because my niece and nephew
Can I
are
share some
like...
intuitive hit? I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, please.
One of that child that you lost, the soul actually went into your sister's kids.
I know my daughter, or her daughter.
Yeah.
God, my daughter.
Yeah, and she's your daughter. Yeah.
I know that, and oh my gosh, this is crazy. Not crazy. I was in Dallas not long ago, and I was talking with a friend from the UK who I just connected with immediately. And I was telling her about how I hadn't had children, but my niece and I are very, very close. And I had told her about
sorry,
how
I'm
my
going to
last...
interrupt you again because when things come, I'm...
Tell me, go.
Yeah. So that daughter, your sister's daughter, is actually when your daughter went to her because your sister needs help and she was born to help her.
She sees things. My niece does. Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps. But you know, like when you're talking, I get this things that come that I have to share. So that's why don't mind me. I'm
please.
You know, so
absolutely.
That's, yeah,
yes,
that's what I
please.
feel. She went there to help her.
I figured that out a couple weeks. Well, I had a hunch, and then talking with my brand new friend, telling her how the last pregnancy that I had went a little further, and it was a stillbirth, and I got to hold her, and all of that. And then I talked about being close with my niece, and my friend looked at me and she said, "Do you think?" And I said, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
So
This is
in
a
matter
confirmation
of-
for your instinct that you were getting.
I already knew that.
Yeah. So it's a
I
confirmation.
had that hunch. My friend, when she asked me that, I knew it. I just knew it. And now you just triple confirmed it. Yeah. So
you were here for that message tonight.
That's why you were nudged. Yeah.
To get really firm confirmation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank them.
Thank you.
Not me. Just a camera. Your turn.
Me, okay. So I had to write it down because I can't focus a lot of times.
Yeah.
Um,
See? You have a friend that does the same thing.
in the spirit.
I'm gonna sit down.
Yeah. I'm always been involved with information gathering, sorting, production. I was in graphic design for 30 years, and I did Walmart flyers. So I was very good at organizing, gathering information, and taking, as we called it, 10 pounds of poop and putting it into a 2-pound bag. So, anyway, I've been, I think I've noticed that I've had these kind of feelings since I've been little. I used to have these dreams where when I shut my eyes, or before I go to bed, I could see colors and the universe and everything. And I always have these dreams of flying through either Simpsons or the Bay downtown, up the escalators, right over people's heads. That was awesome.
I did a lot of that too.
Yeah. So one of the first instances that I actually had a really good intuitive response or message for someone, it was I was finished studying my aromatherapy, and I did massage as well. And one of the young girls that I worked with, her mom came over so she could be my guinea pig. I needed bodies. And
Live ones.
Yes. Warm bodies. So at the end of the session, I told her, I said, you need to start speaking up and standing up for yourself and speaking. And she looked at me and her eyes were huge. She goes, how did you know that? So, and it's stuff like that. I've had visions, dreams. I was chased down the street by the tornado that hit Barrie in 1984. Yeah, that was cool. In the dream. I woke up in the dream. Yeah, no, it was a dream. Yeah, it was I skipped school, of course, and it was at my boyfriend's, and we were sleeping, and I had the dream there. And when I woke up, I'm like, oh my god, I wonder if my house is still up, because that's where it happened. It was really kind of weird. And then I heard about the tornado. Something that has been bothering me for quite a while is I'll suddenly think of someone, and then they're dead.
Dead.
Yeah. Liz Taylor was the first one.
That's basically.
Don't think of me.
Don't think of me.
It's like these weird.
You're picking up
Yeah.
what's already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very close to home. Yesterday, I was thinking how my aunt, if she was going to be at our Christmas party, and she passed away this morning.
Oh,
She suffered for a long time with dementia, so she's in the other realm right now. Yeah.
She's your new angel.
Yeah, I have lots of them. Stuff like that. A couple of months ago, I went to a gut health event at Lauren's place with Key's Kitchen. I can't remember her full name. But the night before, I was journaling, writing down stuff that was going on in my crazy brain. And she basically, I showed her word for word what I wrote down, and it was the exact same words that she had said about 5 or 6 different times during the day. Yeah, I collect stuff. I'm an artist. I like making things with nature. I collect the shells from the lake, not the mussel. I collect the mussel shells, the freshwater mussel ones that are very depleted. And then one day I thought, I wonder if there's any rocks with holes around here. And I looked over and there was a big rock, and I was looking beside it, and I found 6. Right off the bat, like in 10 minutes. I couldn't believe it.
so holy.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Yeah, but I've always been able to.
Then she's got full of holy rocks.
Got a whole bunch of them that I'm making things
whole
with.
bunch.
A plethora.
You'll get very holy.
Yes, I'm very spiritual. I've been really holy. Yeah, and then when I was working in graphics, I was a troubleshooter. If somebody had an issue or a challenge with something that had to get done, I was able to do it. But I'm not a computer programmer, but I could tell them, okay, this is not working here and here and here, and the connection's getting lost here, and it was the right answer. So
your guide, let me tell you, your guide has that expertise in computers. That's how you can get that, even though you're not an expert in computer. So we all have guides, okay? Each guide, sometimes like we can have multiple guides and each guide has their own talent, okay? So they will help you in each area. So that's how, like I got lots of them, so I'm doing so many things.
So I have a crystal guide, I have an essential oil guide, I have a digital guide, and I have a rock guide. I love rocks. When the house beside, well, actually, when we bought our house.
Can I
yes.
share something? When you were saying that, I was seeing this vision of, I'm assuming it's a guy. He looked like a big, going back, how do you call that? Rock times, you know that.
Stone Age.
Yeah,
Neanderthal?
you know there's.
Caveman.
Yeah, I know, but that
Prehistoric?
you know there's cartoon.
The
Flintstones.
Flintstones.
The Flintstones, right? So that was coming to me, and then but it's a combination of somebody that looked like Fred the Flintstone. Yet there's a the a guy with that wear that horny hat.
Oh, look at
The
that.
Water buffalo.
Viking. So it's a combination of a Viking and Flintstone.
That sounds like my husband. I actually drew a picture once and it was him as a Viking and he had a mop on his head. That's where that came from. Yeah.
Great. So, what do you do with your intuitive hits?
Well, I was not listening to them. I've had a very rough, my family has had a very rough year. My husband had a major surgery in March. He was in the hospital for about a month and a half at South Lake. So he had an aneurysm and it was bad. And then afterwards he's been like all kinds of gout issues, not being able to walk and many different things.
I'm just going to stop here for a second. Whenever you're going through a crisis, that's the best time to ask for guidance, help.
I used to shut down, and then my self-destructive behavior, number 11, kicks in. And I did not even realize that I was doing it, and I didn't realize until last night at about 2 in the morning when I was doing a reading that I was the one that was always foretelling how things were going to happen. And like, an event that I would go to, and I would have,
when you really need it for yourself, you're not doing it.
I wasn't, but I am now.
Good.
So since the rocks came out of the lake, I actually took them into the bath with me that night, and I'm very connected with the mother, the lady of the lake, and the earth. I grew up in the woods, and I would go out and spend the day in the woods. When they cut the trees down next door, I sat in my living room
Crying.
and cried.
I did the same thing. So speaking of, to touch with a little something like a story, Hester's daughter, when she first started with her sessions with me, and she came from San Francisco for Christmas holiday, and the next day they were going to pick up her son. So I said, I'm going to give you homework right now. Tomorrow morning, I think she has to go to the airport at 6 o'clock. I said, you're going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's, how old was she then? 22, 23? And, they don't really care about getting up like 5 o'clock. So I said to her, but